1, 0. Number 1, I want you to be coming up with a conjecture. And number 2, I want you to be coming up with a reasoning or justification for why. Now, how are we figuring out what this conjecture is about? I want you to think about the 3 problems that you just solved, as well as the number of sentences that you've created to go along with them. And if you look at your pages right now, the last bulleted question says, do answers always get bigger when you multiply or smaller when you divide? Why or why not? Your conjecture is going to be based off of this statement, and you're going to use the problems that you just solved as well as your number sentences to help you figure that out. When I say go, you can get started with your table groups in trying to figure out that conjecture. Is that always true or is it not?
4.
Do you have another example without using 1? Because you know when you multiply and divide by 1, you're always going to get that same number.
4 times 1/2.
What's 4 times 1/2?
2.
Which is what?
2.
That's a great example. You could use that.
Okay, so we could draw 1.
What's your conjecture?
When you multiply a whole number by a fraction where the numerator is less than the denominator, the product will always be smaller than the whole number.
Okay, where's your example and reasoning? I need you to prove it.
Why did it move?
Voices off! Drop everything! So, who can remind me, what is a gallery walk, Josangeli?
Gallery walk is when different groups make posters. We go around and put post-its and tell the group what was good about their poster and what needs to improve.
Okay, can someone remind us, what was our goal for the next time that we did a gallery walk?
Don't always write that someone is not being neat.
We need to make sure that we're being specific. What else? Michelle?
We have to actually tell them what's good about their work and things that they could work on the math or the explanation.
Okay, we are going to have 5 minutes to do our silent gallery walk. You're reflecting and putting your post-its on each of the chart papers. Silently go back to your seats. By the end of this discussion, I want us to have a 1-sentence statement that will always be true. Josangeli, why don't you start us off?
If you're multiplying a number smaller than 1, then the number will get smaller. If you multiply it by a number greater than 1, it will be greater. And if you were to multiply it by 1, it would be the same.
I would like to add on and say that when you multiply with fractions under 1, it would always leave the product smaller than you started with.
Why does that happen when you multiply a number less than 1 and it gets less? Why does that happen?
Ashley, give yourself a bonus for asking a question. I love that you're trying to figure out the reason why behind it. We want to make sure that we're always explaining our thinking.
Because fractions are like whole numbers are greater than fractions. So when you multiply a fraction by a whole number, it will be like a smaller number because like as I said, like fractions are like less than a whole number. So
Are all fractions less than a whole number?
no.
There's some fractions where it can be like there's 3 over 2, and 3 over 2 equals 1 and 1/2, and 1 and 1/2 is bigger than 1.
Quinlan, can you restate the question that you asked earlier? Because I think that could add a lot to our discussion right now.
Can't we also have mixed numbers as well as numbers below 1?
When you have a mixed or a mixed number, like 4 over 2, it would be 2, which is like over 1. So I mean, it's greater than 1. So if you do 1 times 4 over 2, it won't get smaller because it's still over the number 1.
I would actually like to stop you there. We already discussed a whole number times a whole number can either be the same or be bigger, then get smaller.
So we're having a really great discussion right now. But ultimately, I want us to get to that conjecture. So I want a 1-sentence conjecture. And I want it to tell us what happens when you multiply a number. Tell your partner.
When you multiply a number, you have
It could be bigger, less, or for example.
okay.
Yeah, for example, when you do 5 times 2 equals 10, it was bigger than those 2 numbers. And also when you divide,
Okay, I'm gonna call on you. You ready to share that conjecture? Bring it back in 3. Voices up, eyes on Layla over there in 2, 1, 0. Layla, what is our takeaway for the day?
The conjecture is if you multiply a number greater than 1, then it'll be a greater number than it is, and if you multiply a number by 1, it'll be the same, and if you multiply a number that is less than 1, it'll be smaller.
How can we be even more precise? When you multiply,
When you multiply a number by something greater than a whole than 1, then the product will be greater. And if you multiply something by 1, then it will stay the same. And if you multiply a number by something less than a whole, the product will become smaller.
any disagreements? Okay, so I think we got it. Excellent job today. This is our conjecture for the day, and then tomorrow we're gonna move into division and figure out if when you divide, your number will always get smaller. Sound good?
yes.
Awesome, have a great rest of your day.